I mean, I didn't learn it from anybody. It was more my dad, in particular, and my mom just saying, look, if you want something, you got to earn it. You got to go do it. From the time I was a kid, I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My dad did upholstery on cars. So if you had a rip in your car seat, that's where you take it. My mom did odd jobs, never had the same job for very long. Good middle-class family. But it was always like, you want a new pair of basketball shoes? You go get a job. So I would buy and sell trading cards. I was Michael Rubin before Michael Rubin was Michael Rubin. Right?
I had Michael Rubin on the show. It was like an attack.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you say you were Michael Rubin before Michael Rubin, because you have a very similar path in so many ways,
he hustled and he did his own thing, right?
Yes.
That's why I respect Michael. And so, but anyway, so I would buy and sell trading cards to all my neighbors and everything. And then one day, my dad and his buddies were playing poker, probably drunk out of their mind, right? And I came in and I was like, Dad, I want to get a new pair of basketball shoes. He looks at me, he says, those shoes on your feet work. When you have a job, you can get whatever you want. I'm 12 years old. How am I going to get a job? And one of his buddies pops up and goes, hey, I've got all these garbage bags and you can sell them. They're boxes of garbage bags. I got hundreds of them. Why don't you go sell them? I'm like, can I, Dad? And he's like, cool. And so I just went door to door selling garbage bags. And it was like, hi, my name is Mark. Do you use garbage bags?
And everybody does, by the way.
Everybody needs garbage bags. So I'll never forget, they cost me $3 a box. I sold them for $6, and I would drag them down to my neighbors. You always have the ability to make money.
Yes, you do. I mean, and obviously understanding that from your parents for a young age must have been pretty formative. What else did they teach you?
My dad was gone at 7 a.m. and home at 6. And, he didn't want me to follow his path, basically. He would take me where he worked and, I'd get $5 for sweeping the floor and cleaning things. Not because he wanted me to make some money or whatever, but it was more, he wanted me to see how backbreaking it was. Yeah. He lost his eye in an accident. And,
he did?
Yeah, and just, it was backbreaking work. And he wanted me to go to college. I mean, neither of my parents had gone to, even though my mom, when she was 50, went back, but neither of my parents had gone to college. My mom was 20 when I was born. I mean, it was just the prototypical,
different time.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, it was different times. And I just, from that moment on, I was a hustler, I was the whole prototypical grinding all my life, whether it was selling baseball cards, garbage bags, magazines, door to door.
Coins, stamps, I read, all the things,
I would go to a stamp show, right? And start with 50 cents and leave with $50.
Amazing,
right?
amazing.
And once you figure out, this is how markets work and you can sell.
But you had it, right? It's like, when did the hustle turn into a thirst for entrepreneurialism?
After I realized I was a lousy employee and I was getting fired or couldn't stand it, then I had no choice.
It's always a signal, isn't it? You're like, okay.
They're like, see ya, right? When it really hit was, I moved down to Dallas. I was living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor. And I'd gotten a job first as a bartender, then I got a day job working at a company called Your Business Software selling technology. And, I didn't really know technology at the time, but I was like, I'll read the manuals, I'll do whatever. And it was going along great. I was making money, relatively speaking. And then I had a chance to get a big commission, right? So I had a chance to pick up.
What was a big commission back then?
$1,500.
Oh.
Because that was enough for me to move out of the shithole I lived in, because I was sleeping on the floor.
Get away from the 6 other guys.
3-bedroom apartment, right? And so I was like, okay, this will get me out. And so I called my boss and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go pick up this check. Because I'm supposed to, sweep the floor, open up the retail store. He's like, no, I need you at the store. I'm like, Michael, you met me. I got you covered, right? And he goes, no, I need you to be in the store. So I'm like, okay, I need this commission check. If I go pick up a check for $15,000, the store needed it, he needed it, I show up, he fires me. Yeah, so I'm done there. I'm like, okay, I got to control my own destiny. I know I can sell. I know I can do this stuff. So I had a prospect, a company called Architectural Lighting, and I went to them and I said, look, I'm broke, right? I don't have the money for this software.
How old are you at this point?
24.
Okay.
So I've been through jobs and bounced. And so, 24, almost 24. And so I went to this company, Architectural Lighting, and I said, this software that you want costs $250. If you give me $500, so I have something to live off for a couple of weeks, if it doesn't work, I'll walk your dog, I'll sweep your floor, I'll wash your car.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. And it worked. And then I did something similar for the next one and the next one and the next one. And that was the company Micro Solutions. And I went 7 years without a vacation, but eighth year in, we sold it to H&R Block. And that was my first exit. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
was that
crazy.
your first big yes? Like, was
Yes.
that the moment you're like, I understand that I am good at something
Yes.
and I have a path here?
Yes. Yeah. Because then once I got into tech, that was it. It was over because I loved learning it, because the way I looked at it, because I didn't take computer science. So I was like, okay, I get this because I like to learn this stuff. And I like, even to this minute, like putting in time to learn technology, it's fun to me. Like my brain just clicks with it and I get excited about it. Okay, I'm learning this new. And when you're learning stuff like that and you have, a sales background and a process background, you can start applying everything that you know to, like Shark Tank company, right? When Shark Tank company walks in a minute, I know exactly how they make money and what they do and what technology works and doesn't. And, that allowed me to be successful at Micro Solutions. After that, I bought and sold stocks, started a hedge fund and sold it within 9 months. We were just killing it, and so that's when I knew that I was on the path. My buddy Todd Wagner from Indiana, we were having lunch at California Pizza Kitchen, and he was like, there's got to be a way we can listen to Indiana basketball down here in Dallas. Because at the time, somebody in Bloomington, Indiana had to put a radio next to a speakerphone in their office, and then we would have a speakerphone down in Dallas, and that's how we listened to games.
No way it was not.
Yes, and now the internet was happening, and Mr. Geek here was like, okay, I know what networking's all about because that's what Micro Solutions did. Let me figure something out, because if it works, there's no distance, there's no time. You can watch anything or listen to anything anywhere. So we started as a company called AudioNet in 1995. And nobody, back then we called it internet broadcasting, and nobody was streaming, nobody. And we're like, oh shit, okay, let's see what we can do. So I went to a local radio station, KLIF, and literally we connected a 8-hour VCR to their board, right? And took the output of the radio and recorded it on 8-hour VCR tapes, took it back to my house, encoded it, put it on our website, audionet.com. And I would go on all these forums and Prodigy and CompuServe and the internet. And I would say, hey, if you live in Dallas and if you're from Dallas and you want to know about Dallas sports and Dallas news, you have to do all these 5 steps, but then you can do it. And then first day, 10 people, next day, 100 people, next month, 1,000 people. And then we started adding more and more radio stations. And then, probably 6 months later, we were able to do live.
Did you know that was going to change your life? Were you like, this is the beginning?
Yes, because I remember having a meeting with everybody and saying, if this works the way I think it'll work, this company's worth $5 billion.
You knew that.
Without any doubt in my mind, because it changed everything. And everybody thought I was a moron, right? That's a great question. My attitude is, if you're happy when you're broke, you'll be happy when you're rich. If you were miserable when you were broke, there's no amount of money that's going to change you from being miserable. And so, when I was sleeping on the floor, I still was having fun,
You strike me as the type of guy that was broke and happy.
Yes, I was. I wasn't happy to be broke.
Now.
Yeah. I wasn't happy to be broke.
That's different.
Right, but I was going to have fun no matter what. And so, when I sold Micro Solutions, I ended up with like $2 million. And I was 29 years old, give or take. And so I bought a lifetime pass on American Airlines for $125,000.
It's a great deal.
Oh my God.
It's a great deal.
And my only mission, because in my mind, I was retired. And my only mission—
At 29.
At 29, yeah. My only mission in life was to party like a rock star. Because all I had to do, I had this card that I could walk up to American Airlines and just show it. And I was that kid that drove around and looked at the big houses and listened to motivational tapes in the car. Yeah. And
I used to drive around looking at all the big houses.
Yes,
that was such a thing for me.
Yes, 100%. I'm like, what do these people do?
Yes.
Right? How did they get there? What is it that they have that I don't? What is their motivation? And that was my motivation. And so I always wanted to make more money, but I always wanted to use my time first, right? Time was the most valuable asset. That's kind of what my dad and my parents taught me, because, if you're grinding the same job and, not really making money, my dad never made more than $40,000 in his life, and you're stuck. You can live a great life. It's not like you can't really enjoy your life and have a great family like we did, but, there were things we couldn't do. things, that, hey, Dad, can we do this? Or can I? No,
sorry.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And you get a job and you can do it. And so, I wanted to really value my time first. And then as I started earning more money, you're fucked.
Basically, that's it. It's like do or die.
Yeah. That's like saying, back in the day, I don't need to use a PC. I don't need to use the internet. I don't need a cell phone, Wi-Fi.
And those businesses died.
Done.
Yeah. And there's so many examples of that, right? Brands that just didn't transition, didn't update, didn't do what they needed to do, and they died a death.
Onto the internet, didn't figure out, it's just like all the stuff you have to learn, right? For Great American Skims.
Yes.
Right? It's never ending. It's a never ending competition. And now your business is harder than it's ever been.
The hardest, and changes every day.
Every millisecond. If you saw the stuff that came from Google, right? Where people are just typing in things and creating like great content.
Unreal.
Now,
I was at the Google Summit last week where they were launching.
When they showed you all this, right? They wanted you to see all this.
You can't even fathom that what you're looking at isn't real. I'm like, wait a minute, what is so good about this? And they're like, well,
it's not like they have 6 fingers anymore. It is like
crazy.
The realest stuff ever. Now, the good news, so there's multiple parts to all this, right? If you're an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, and you start playing with it to get a sense of how it works, how to prompt, it becomes like a mentor. It becomes like having, an entire staff of 1,000 business professors.
That's how you're thinking about it.
Yeah, because you still have to be smart to do it. If you would say to me, Mark, I need a commercial for Skims. I know how to use all the technology. I can type in prompts, but I don't have the creative side of it. I don't know, okay, if you're using a 35 millimeter camera and this type of light, you need this type of aperture and you need this type of angle and you need to, you want these.
So nuance of expertise is still really important.
It's more important.
And the more you're giving AI, the more you're getting out of it, right? That's my limited understanding. It's as good as what you give it.
Correct. Now, it's going to come up with stuff that you couldn't even fathom. It's that good. And it's the ultimate time hack. Because now, okay, edit that together. Let's see what it looks like. And then you look at the dailies and you're like, okay, that looks good. Okay, let's, shoot a little bit more and see what we get.